Welcome to the live stream today. We are super excited. We are having a little conversation backstage about publishing and lawsuits and all kinds of exciting topics, which we're going to get more into next week. But I think
2 weeks.
that 2 weeks, right? Not next week. Thank you very much. Just so you guys can write this down in your calendars. Or your planners, your publishing planners. We will not be here next week. This is our last week that we're off for a while. So one more week of vacation next week. And then starting in August, we will obviously be back on our regularly scheduled program.
Yay.
So, yay. All right, fantastic. So let's say hello. Look who's here first. Benu Bright. Ta-da! Hi, Benu. Very nice to see you. We're very glad. Maggie's here. Hello. Glad to see you today. We got two of those. Oh, look. We are like broadcasting also on Facebook and Twitter today. Every once in a while I'm like, oh, I should do that. And then there's some reason why I change my mind and go back to only YouTube. But yeah, okay. But I can't remember what it is. What were you going to say?
Maggie has a book launch today as well.
I know. I asked somebody to drop a link down so we could give her a shout out today. JC, we are super, super glad to see you today. Everybody's glad to see you. Maggie is getting ready for her latest book release, secretly wondering if I can power nap first.
You can.
Right? A book release will definitely take it out of you because it always feels like, ooh, it's my book release day. But honestly, all the work has gone into it. Like before then, the book launch day, you're still busy, but it's not like crazy busy. Usually. I don't know. It kind of depends on how you do with the launch, right? Okay. So I asked for a link. Let's see. Oh, Maggie, can you drop a link for us, please? That would be great. All right. So JC was looking, couldn't find it. We got to have those links up. All right. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so a little talk about the weather. JC says, good luck on your book release stream. Let me make sure that I have the notification turned on. When is that going to be happening? We know that? I feel like I just got back from vacation and I can't find anything. Like, I'm just still on vacation brain. So, all right. Does anybody else hear that thing that sounds like wind or?
Yeah, what is that?
I don't know.
Like the mothership is hovering overhead.
I know. All right, I'm gonna mute me and we'll see if I'll mute everybody and see if it's any of us. Hold on.
Okay. It's you.
Technical difficulties. It's not. It seems like it's gone now.
Yeah, I don't hear
That
you.
was weird. That was so
very
weird. I know. I do have a fan on, but I always have a fan on. It's like 24 hours a day.
Dude,
Okay.
how can you not have a fan on in Florida right now?
I know. I do. I have one right over my desk. It's always on. Okay. So, which is why I knew it was probably not the thing making the noise because, right? Okay. So let's do our intros really fast and then we will, how is this going to go today? Let's do our intros really fast and then we'll take some more comments and then we will start doing some stuff. We have an interesting topic today, right?
Yes.
Let me go back. I remember we have an interesting topic. I just don't remember what it is. Hold on.
I'm really
full-time writer, right?
That's
Right. Our topic today is that like a lot of people have this goal of being a full-time author. And is it a goal? Is it realistic? Is it a dream? Should you want to do it? Who does? Who doesn't? I know it's kind of a fascinating thing. It really is kind of a fascinating topic. So that's what we're talking about today. You want to be a full-time author? Should you be a full-time author? Is this a good plan? Is it a terrible plan? Is it an awesome plan? We're going to talk all about that today. All right. So JC is doing a great job over here looking for the book and for upcoming videos. So hopefully we'll get that sorted with Maggie. All right. So let's go around the room and do our intros today for anybody who does not know us. I'm going to start with you, Michelle.
Hi.
Hi, welcome.
I'm Michelle Schusterman. I am the middle grade and young adult author, and my YouTube channel is writing workshops and traditional publishing chat and writing blogs. Apparently, I've been gone so long, I don't remember how to do this. Sorry.
I'm having a similar trouble, so I feel your pain, Michelle. I really do. Robert, tell us a little about you and your awesome channel.
My awesome channel is The Story Detective, where we take all forms of storytelling and put it under a Sherlockian microscope to break down the craft for you, the viewer, in hopes of making your journey easier. And I am working on a video, mainly because I don't have much choice, because I got an email from YouTube saying I fell below a certain level and I'm going to lose monetization if I don't get a video up in the next 30 days.
What? That's a thing?
Yes, that's the thing.
Oh,
so,
no.
The video that I filmed last fall, and it's kind of going to like little shops in a nearby town and looking at different things where you can get inspiration for writing and life in general, and being out and about, and hopefully it'll be interesting.
I'm sure it'll be great. Well, if you need in a pinch, we can always do a Save Robert's Channel monetization live stream. it'll be like Farm Aid, except for you. It'll be author aid, right? I think that could work. I think that could work for us. So, yeah, all right. I think that's good. I think that's very good. Oh my. All right. Well, if you need the emergency live stream, we can definitely do that. So we'll just, I know, right? That will at least be easy, because I'm sure that counts, doesn't it? A live stream versus a produced video.
It should, as long as you're getting some kind of reaction and making money for YouTube. I guess it all counts.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we're very excited that we're going to be seeing, this could be a good thing. Sometimes we need a little poke in the butt to get things rolling again. Right? Exactly. So then you're going to get back to it and go, oh yeah, this is kind of fun. Yeah, exactly. So, all right. That's good. Okay. All right. So we have some back and forth. Dun, dun, dun. Mama Ward says, full-time writing, full-time farm mom. FYI, full-time does not mean paid time. Right? Time. But that's what we're talking about, is like not needing like a day job or some extra thing to support your writing career. I've done both. And I have thoughts on this particular topic, which we will start talking about when we come back from the break. Let's do our first 5-minute warm-up sprint where everybody can get their documents and things open. Before we go over there, what are you guys working on today? Anybody?
Oh, okay.
Michelle, what are you working on today?
I'm working on my book, and also I have to write a blurb for a client. That shouldn't take too long, though.
No. I know blurbing is an art form in itself, for sure. Robert, what are you working on today?
Still editing my current draft and doing some rewrites, and I'm going to use this stream to add a couple of things and review the last few pages I wrote, and then I'll be off and running for the next sprint.
Cool. All right. So I have some client work also for one of my book clients. So I'm going to be knocking out. So I'd sent out an email earlier, and I've gotten a bunch of responses. And so I'm going to be doing that today, because I'm I'm really very excited after my vacation, my little surfing vacation, which was awesome. I feel super on fire to get started with my next book, which I'm gonna tag team with Michelle as far as nagging each other, and so I'm really excited to hear how yours is going, because you obviously started in July, but August will be like all this project, and I'm really chomping at the bit, and I always love that energy, just can't wait. So I'm not letting myself do it this week, because I won't be able to do it next week. So I'm just gonna go full bore in August. So, Robert, what are you working on here?
That draft of my current. Yes. Writing and editing my current draft.
Guys, my brain is so in vacation mode. I'm pretty sure it's because I was day drinking every single day. out there by the pool, like in the afternoons, having a little strawberry daiquiri. Yeah. So that is it. All right. Nobody needs a 5-minute break more than I do. Let's go ahead and do our 5-minute timer. You guys can get everything ready to roll on your projects. Folks in the chat, please let us know what you are going to be working on today. And we are going to get started in 3, 2, 1. Sprint. All right. Very nice. Okay. So, what are you guys working on in the chat? I did find, look at this. Let's see if I can share this screen. That's always, with me. It's always a big maybe. All right. Let's see. Hold on. I've got it. Chrome tab. There we go. Look what it is. It's Maggie's book. Yay. I know, right? Oh, this is weird. I just pre-ordered it. I wonder why it's not showing on that. Let's see if I refresh the page if it will show. I just bought it during the break. I'm very excited about that. There we go. Congratulations. Yay. So super easy to find. There is a link that JC kindly dropped into the chat, but you can just look it up on Amazon if you're having trouble with the link. So I just looked up Blue Butterflies MM Ward and it popped right up. Isn't that a miracle? So congratulations. Yay. Fantastic. All right, hold on. Now I can't get rid of it. There we go. All right. Oh, you're so welcome. All right. So what are you guys working on in let us know in the chat today. I just saw Okay. Maggie says I'm working on 30 questions every writer should ask their character interviews for my August 80K project because distraction from nerves. Sometimes we need stuff to distract us. All right, so that's good. That's a good thing to work on. What is everybody else working on today? Morgan is working hard on revisions. Very nice. I want to send the book to my CP by the end of the week. Good job. Very, very good work. All right. I saw Claude pop in. Hello, darling. Very, very glad to see you today. I'm sorry things have been so confusing. I did post a little graphic over in the community chat, but I don't know that YouTube put it out because I've had several people ask about it. So no live stream next week, but then starting August, we'll be back on our regular every Wednesday schedule. So, and my vacation was awesome. So thanks very much. I missed you guys, but it was totally worth it. I had it was just like so relaxing, which I really, really, really needed. So
yeah, you had a hell of a spring.
I really did. I really did. And it takes your body and your brain some time to just chill out. So I'm glad that I had that. And yeah. Yay. And now I'm in such a good, I'm vacation mood. All right. Mama Word says, I feel like I need a vacation after my summer vacation.
Yeah.
Right? Very, very nice. I feel that. I have felt that. My kids are older now, so it's more chill. JC says, I'm just reading right now. Very good. Claude is trying to figure out if I want to write casually for my entourage and myself. I felt a lot less pressure yesterday when I thought about that prospect. Well, that's interesting. Yeah. So that actually is a really good segue into this topic that we have today, which is the dream to be a full-time writer? So I kind of want to hear from you guys in the chat. Who would ideally love to be full-time author? That's your only gig and that is it. Let's start here. You, Michelle? Okay, good. Robert? Okay, very nice. I know I've actually done both. And I will say when I was full-time author, just making money off my books and, book-related stuff, which I guess now everything I do now is book-related, but it's not necessarily just my books. But when it was just about me and my books, I loved it. But then I had this very traumatic event and I couldn't write. And, if you have a traumatic event, you can still, drag yourself into a day job every day and they'll still pay you. But if you stop writing, eventually that money goes like that, which is what happened. And it's been harder to start building that back up. Because I basically just neglected my writing career for several years. So it's kind of taken me to a point where I feel like I have momentum going in the right direction. All right.
Yeah.
So how about you, Michelle? Let's hear about it. So what would you give up if you were doing full-time, if you were doing the full-time writer dream?
Well, like, I think I am. I mean, that's what I do. I don't know if sometimes I do feel weird saying I am a full-time author because I think there's like, it implies there that I am 100% living off the money that my books make.
Right.
When the truth is, on average, I would say about half my income is ghostwriting, but it is ghostwriting books.
Right.
I write fiction for a living. That's
Right.
that is like 99% of my income.
Yeah.
So I do think that counts.
I know. I know, right? So that's what I have. I have my books, and my income comes from my books, book coaching, and ghostwriting.
Yeah.
So am I a full-time author? Yeah. I mean, all the money, I don't go to a job, and all the money I make does, comes from books. So,
I think if you're a mid-list author, you're going to have to supplement with something. And we're supplementing with writing books and helping people with their books.
Yeah.
Or writing books for other people.
Yeah.
Yeah. It still counts as being a full-time author because back when I remember thinking that this is what I wanted, what I really wanted was to be able to wake up every day and be like, oh, my job today is telling stories.
Right.
And that's what it is.
Right.
So that counts to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. And I'm sure there are some people who make that delineation between, well, you're not a full-time author if some of the books that you're writing are for other people, or if you're helping people with book launch strategy or doing some other thing.
Right.
But for me, I go, well, and I have been where it was just exclusively me and my writing. But I will say that after that experience of going through, an event and it could be anything. It doesn't have to be some big trauma. It could be a car accident, or it could be, some issue, right? Or some issue with your family members, like things like that. When you are just making your living writing, especially when you've gone through something where where it really takes a lot of mental energy to get through, it's hard to just do the writing. I mean, I remember sitting down after that and like trying to write, being under deadline and not being able to do that. Now I feel like things are a little bit more diversified, and I think that makes me feel a little safer.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah. All right. So, because I'm like, okay, yeah, I've got a bunch of deadlines for work, but I also have other stuff that I can do that makes money that doesn't feel like the same amount of pressure. Okay. So, but I work with a bunch of, like, one of the things that I do is author coaching, in particular for nonfiction books. And a lot of my clients are like 6 and 7 figure fiction authors. And it's fascinating to me to see how they structure their time and how some of them, even though they're making 6 figures a year, mid 6 figures a year, still feel like it could all fall apart at any second. And you think like, okay, maybe you're living the dream, but do you also does that feel like enough security? And I think it depends on whether you're a person who really needs that security, or whether you're a person who generally, like me, has been like, something else will come up. Okay. So, right. Exactly. All right. So JC says, if it were possible, absolutely. But realistically, I know that's highly unlikely. I was once naive enough when I was younger to think that was going to happen. Oh, to be young again. I'm torn when I see things like this. Here's why. Right? Even if it's only 1 in 100,000 authors that can make a living. Why couldn't you be the one, JC? Right?
Yeah.
Why couldn't you be the one? So that's the first part. On the other hand, I know JC has a child to feed. And so to like hedge her bets and kind of keep things safer, on the safer side, like, yeah, I see that. But I do think you have a lot better chance of making a good living as an author and making your full living with books and writing if you treat it like a business and not like a hobby.
Yeah.
Life's always over. I mean, I had the traumatic event that was an accident, and I was a full-time work-at-home artist and worked on my writing on the side and kibitzed to other people's works and didn't get any credit for any of that. But anyway, after you stop, Then you digest a lot, and there's the trauma to deal with. Then I went
Right.
back to that day job thinking, okay, I'm just getting back into the groove. I'm going to work a day job, something simple that can be put aside, and I can work on my other things. The problem with day jobs is, especially if they're owned by or managed by any kind of person who, you know, wants to crack that whip, they will tell you every day that what you think, what you say, what you do does not matter. And it's a beatdown, it's a grind. And then that doesn't help you get back on that horse either. So after going through all of that, I managed to, over the last few years since I started my YouTube channel, first draft a bunch of novels for self-publishing, and now I'm starting to edit them. But life always takes over. Then we have the whole corporate mentality of, like JC said, you're not young anymore, so you're not viable. But at one point in time, artists, creators of all sorts were given respect because their experience, their creativity, their versatility with craft. But now corporate just wants to hire somebody cheaper, somebody younger. They figure just move on to the next thing. And it's all trickle down from that. You are viable, and everything that you learned and do in life is grist for the story mill. Everything that you're experiencing helps to add to that. So you're never too old. And Poets and Writers, they have an article every month that talks about 5 authors over the age of 50. So there's constantly people that are over the age of 50 who are getting into the game. And
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love doing a feature.
Yes.
Because I do feel like the publishing industry really shines a spotlight on young authors.
Mm-hmm.
Get it? And I think it's awesome when young people get book deals. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Let's give some people credit for like making this their second or third or fourth career in their lives, you know?
Right.
So pretty monumental.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and I know like so many authors who didn't start until, right, because they followed that advice like, oh, don't try to be an author, get an accounting degree. And so they did that, where secretly they wanted to be an author the whole time. And you know, it's really funny, when I worked at the publishing house, we had like, I don't know, I would say like a third of our mystery authors were lawyers or judges, which is one of those like shadow careers where there's a lot of writing involved, but a lot of people who really want to be mystery writers go into law, and they make, right, and they make big, you know, big money for a long time, and then, but they really just want to write books. So yeah, I feel that. All right.
Yeah.
So I forgot this. Emma Moore says, Michelle, living the dream. Morgan says, being a full-time author is my dream. I just want to do creative things and work for myself. I don't want to work for other people.
Yeah.
That is the best thing ever. I really love the fact that I don't, like, I can schedule my day how I want to schedule my day. I don't have that many meetings. I really like, but you really have to be a kind of person who's like a good self-starter, who gets things done, who stays on deadline, because if you don't, then the whole working for yourself thing is not going to be great.
And there's no shame in not wanting that at all. I know
Right.
people who are the opposite of that. One of my best friends is an author, and a very, very good one and an accomplished one, but she still and always will have a full-time job. And it's not because she doesn't have faith in herself to go out and
Right.
freelance. She could freelance and make bank. Like, she could do it. She likes going in. She likes being around people. She
Right.
likes leaving her work at the office and going home and then being two separate places. A lot of people feel that way, and I get it. That's not
I do too.
I understand it.
Right. I know that's it. That's not who I am, but I completely get it. And the thing is it's valid. You're not a failure if you're not writing full time. Some people have other stuff they want to do, or they don't want to be in charge of all their own stuff.
Mhm.
So, right, there are a million different ways to do this, and they're all valued. All right. Mama says, I enjoy Robert's tech review. All right, fantastic. Very, very nice. JC says, it's definitely what I'm working towards. Very nice. JC says, I thought it would happen a lot faster than it has. I've been working towards that life all this time, and I'm still not there yet, but I'm still working toward it. Good for you.
JC,
Yeah,
I'm curious. I just want to know, if you don't mind sharing, and you certainly don't have to, but I want to know when. Like, tell me what year you started working on this. I mean, because sometimes it takes some time and you don't realize the snowball is building, and then all of a sudden you're
Right.
like, oh dang, here I am. I started trying to freelance for a living in 2010, and it wasn't until 2018 that I started to see on the horizon, oh, maybe full time is actually coming, And then it was like 2020 when I was like, oh, look, I'm actually doing it. And it
Full
caught me
time.
off guard. And that was a decade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
mhm,
a big moment. I will say there's something, so I use FreshBooks to do my billing, which is, I think you could, like, it's really inexpensive either way. But if you have 5 or fewer clients, it's super, super cheap. It's like $6 a month or something. But when you log in, there's like this dashboard and it shows your income growing
Mhm.
over the course of the year, and I cannot tell you how, like, satisfying that is, even if it's just a little bit to see, like, because, it doesn't, you're not gonna have, like, a little bump, if you made $50 last month and $100 this month, your little mountain's gonna be going straight up, and
Mhm.
there is something so, like, inspiring about that. Okay, so JC, let us know in the comments if you have not already. Ooh, it's way down here. Okay, so she says, I've been writing since I was 10, but started trying to freelance in 2009.
Oh my gosh,
I,
around the same time I did. That's so funny. Sorry.
I haven't been very successful at it yet. I only just self-pubbed last year. So, yet. So, one of the things, like, when you write, when you are pitching or writing a proposal for a traditional publisher, especially with nonfiction, it's a little bit less so with fiction. But with nonfiction, you're writing about your platform, like who are you that's gonna make you able to sell books?
Mhm.
And I always included that information when I was pitching fiction as well, just because I had it and I might as well, but it's not as required in fiction. But you feel like you're not really getting anywhere and you're like a duck pedaling under the water the whole time, and you don't really see how much progress you've made until you go back and look at where you were, like, in 2010. And
Wow.
one of the things about sending out traditional publishing proposals is that you're not gonna start from scratch every time. You're gonna pull from your old proposal and update it. And that was always like, I would feel like, God, I haven't gotten anywhere. But then I would update it and I'd be like, oh, I have this many people on my newsletter list now. Oh, I've done this many interviews. Oh, I've like I have sold this many books, or, oh, I won this award. And, like, that continual progress, which you don't think about because it's not, like, in your face every single day, when you're sort of compiling it for something like that, I think it hits you that you've made more progress than you think, which is a long and convoluted way to say you have probably made more progress than you think you have.
Absolutely.
another good thing about reading some of those trade magazines is they have first-time authors that they ask, how long did it take you from onset to publishing?
Mm.
And there's an average in there of 5 years, 10 years plus.
Yeah.
Um, Larry Brooks took like 15 years before he published his first novel. And, there's a lot of people out there like that. When I was doing art, I mean, I was drawing and writing my own stories since I could pick up a pencil and put thoughts together. And it took a long time to actually break into the business. And even after people were saying you should be getting work, it still took a few years after that until somebody finally gave me work. So it's hard and you need to be persistent. But when you're doing it for yourself, there is that self-starting thing. And I was just reading a post that I commented on, Writers Helping Writers, where there was a 16-year-old that said, I have all these ideas. I want to write stories. How do I begin? I don't want criticism, but I want advice. And everybody has all the typical advice. Write every day, do this, do that. It's like a dogged world that you're dumping on a 16-year-old with ideas. And some people can write every day, some people can't. But I said, if you love it, you'll find time to do it often and you'll get better at it. There is a constant build.
Yeah.
It's always happening. And when it does happen, it's like falling off a log. You turn the corner and you're there. And then you look back at all of that in hindsight and you're like, wow, it really did add up, really did have meaning. But I didn't see it at the time because I felt like I wasn't getting anywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
Our brains are so good at seeing big picture stuff.
Yeah.
The big picture of where I want to be and the big picture of where I came from, but we're so bad at like seeing all the little things that add up along the way. We need to look for those things. It's important if you want to talk about motivation, you know, sometimes you need that little stuff to keep yourself going.
Yeah, that's really it. That is really it. You have to, you have to like celebrate those little small wins. So Caro has joined us. Hi, Caro. We're so glad you're here.
Hello.
The wackiness.
I misread your message because when you said we'd be back on August 3rd,
there was a part in the middle that was like, oh yeah, we're on next week, and then we're off, and then and you know what? I posted a schedule because it, it was like off on. I posted a schedule in the community tab, but I don't think that YouTube sent it out because nobody got it. And even the Horror Geek was like, did you say anything about this? Like, you live streaming tomorrow? And I was like, yeah, I posted the thing. All right. So, I think this is a moment for celebration. JC put out a book last year. Woo! That is awesome, right? That's huge. A lot of people want to do that. Like something like 45% of Americans want to write a book, and you did it. So you know what? It takes a while. You have kids, which makes everything take longer, and so you're on your way. You're on your way. All right. Eva says a couple of I'm sorry. I was like,
I'm gonna say don't give an Amazon self-publishing thing where you need to put out so many books per year. I mean, put it out when you have something, just keep going with it, even if it's 1 year or one every couple of years. If you put out something good, it's still going to get more attention than putting out, 6 or 12 books per year and just racing through a bunch of words.
Yeah. Eva says a couple months ago, I created a digital copy of a paper copy manuscript I wrote more than a decade ago, and seeing the issues was so eye-opening. I didn't see those things as issues back then. Don't we learn so much when we look at old work? That's true. That's very true. All right. JC says, hi, Caro.
Hello. I have a question. What is our topic?
So our topic is the dream of being a full-time author. Is it right? So who has that dream? Is it the only dream available? Which we've already covered that part, and the answer is no, it is not. That some people want that, some people don't like that. So yeah, 2 books and a stack of manuscripts just waiting. What are we waiting for on the stack of manuscripts? Are you like in editing, covers? What's happening with that? Let's see that. Let's have a status report today from JC. We're her imaginary office mates. JC is presenting her status report today. Thank you so much. Thank you. We all have those. We definitely all have those. Laura says, I write lots of short fiction. It's hard to get them published with a professional rate of 8 cents a word. I've had 15 accepted, but only made $23. I know, right? It's hard because like short pieces in particular, right? So yeah, it's not good. All right. Yeah. It's not, right? It's terrible because that takes you time. You are clearly talented. And so it's sad that is like a middling little thing. This is actually one of the reasons why I don't write. I used to write a lot more, but it just doesn't pay as well anymore. Yeah. So I have like 1 gig that pays great and requires almost no brain power. So I keep that. And the rest of them I don't. So
hard. And there's no excuse for not putting in the work, but I also want to add the fact that both publishing companies and even readers don't treat everybody the same. So you can't always go by another person's experience either. You can't think you're going to be the golden child and get out there and have success, but you do have to believe that what you have and what you're doing is worthwhile. Because
well, you also can't think that you're not going to be the golden child.
Yeah.
Right?
You have to,
somebody's got to be the golden child. It should be you.
A lot of
Alright.
people do rely on their egos, and if they believe it's strong enough, I've seen people just push through. So yes, there is that.
That is true. I have gotten in plenty of places I shouldn't be just through sheer force of will. All right. So, lots with no place, and some places don't pay for flash fiction or gravels. That is true. Our retirement plan is with my writing, though I do envision it including editing clients as well.
Mhm.
Very nice. Laura, I have to have a day job unless I move back to the States and live with my parents.
Yeah.
Right? But
Mhm.
your day job's pretty interesting. I mean, that's one thing I guess I would try to have a day job. Either I would want a day job that was like so boring that all your creative work could be like all your creative power could be harnessed into your own work, or something where you were around other creative people and that was really super inspiring. All right, so JC's status report is I tend to write books and get shiny new ideas, set the finished ones aside, and then I end up with stacks of manuscripts that need editing.
Do you not like editing? I'm wondering, because usually for me, when I get enough space from a project, I get excited to go back and edit it and like
Yeah,
get it ready to go out, you know?
right.
I'm
And
gonna
if you have
be on this call.
right, I know, right? Well, and this is out of love. This is out of love. We want to get all those books out into the world,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I
editing.
don't think there's anything wrong with having all those ideas and having
No.
a pile of
No.
manuscripts, but at the same time, yeah, you need to find some craft books on editing that's going to inspire you to have that same energy and inspiration when you're getting in there and making those words, click together just right.
Mm.
Mhm. Well, the other part of that too is it's going to be a lot easier. You've already spent all the hard part, right? Writing the book. So it's going to be a lot easier for those books to make you money if they're up on the bookstores. Just a tip. Right? I want to see these, but think about, another thing you can do for me sometimes, a lot of times, one of the reasons I'm so obsessed with planners is that if I write things down and give them deadlines, they are far more likely to occur. And one thing that you can do is get your covers done and put those books up on pre-order. And then you'll have a hard deadline. People will start ordering. You won't want to lose those sales. So then and you could set a pre-order for like a year away.
I feel like I have to point two things out with that strategy, which is
Okay.
which is a good motivator, absolutely. And unfortunately, I've met a lot of people that have tried to do that, and because they don't actually meet like the submission date for the manuscript on the pre-order, they get dinged by Amazon.
Yeah.
So then they can't do pre-orders for a year. So my
I think
advice is that
if you miss you have to miss 2 pre-orders. They give you one. They give you one, but you have to miss 2 pre-orders. But you can change
you can't pre-order that book again. Like I did that once, and that particular book can never be on pre-order again. So what I'm trying to say is do that if it works for you. If you are realistic and you know that is not a strategy that works for you, do yourself a favor and don't get dinged, because you don't want to get dinged.
We don't want anybody to get dinged. All right. JC is currently working on a second draft of one of those manuscripts. Yay. So don't worry, I'm getting to it. All right. Good. Very, very nice. Me too, Eva. I can't wait till that happens. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and do our first 20-minute sprint. We already 45 minutes in because Carol wasn't here to nag me. So I'm sorry. It's my fault. I should have given you more warning then. Here's the link. All right. So hold on just one second. Let me do this. Dun dun dun. All right. But she's here now. Thank goodness. You keep us all on track. All right, you guys, let's do our first 20-minute writing sprint. We are going to get some stuff rolling. We have had such a good conversation around this, and I'm excited to get back to it. All right. Let us know how you do. Coming up in 3, 2, 1. Sprint. All right. Very nice. How did everybody do on that last sprint?
I did well. I almost got the entire scene here.
Ooh, very nice. I'm very, very glad to hear that. Carol, how'd you do on the last one?
We're talking about things that we do as authors, and I'm working right now. So I got through, there were 22 emails that I had to go through, and now I'm down to 16. So,
well, you are just knocking them out. Very, very nice. Very good day. So MM Ward said, enjoy blue butterflies. Let me know if you want blue water and I'll send it to you. Oh, that's so sweet. I know. I think that was the second or third book in the series. How exciting. Michelle, how did you do on the last sprint?
Pretty good. I spent half of it blogging. We have been once again for another video topic, and the other half working on this board.
Good. Very, very nice. I always enjoy it when you vlog our live stream over, like it's just fun. It's like a little,
Yeah.
Anyway, that's cool. So this is a great I did well. How did you guys do in the chat? Let us know. Benu has a great question. When is a good day to release a book? Weekday or weekend? Anyone have a favorite day or date? Has that been discussed before? I have thoughts on this. Are you ready? So traditionally published books are always released on Tuesdays. Independent authors tend to favor Monday or Sunday. If you are trying to make a list run, so you're trying to hit the USA Today bestseller list, your book's got to come out like Monday or Tuesday, because otherwise you miss a day. It's better to come out Tuesday. That way you hit all the best possibilities for the list. But I actually did a video on this, I think, about how to hit a bestseller list and the days that you have to come out. But I think a lot of indie publishers do Monday because they still have the possibility of making the lists, but also they have a little less competition than you would have on Tuesday. However, some indie publishers like to blend right in with traditional publishing, and so they come out on Tuesdays. Anybody have thoughts?
I always release mine on my birthday because I'm a diva.
Oh,
that's great. That's fantastic. I had a book come out on my mother's birthday. I don't even remember which one it was. I think I have no idea what it was. Anyway, felt like a lucky day, but it was also a Tuesday and I did not set the date. But you know when it does come up and it's like a meaningful date, you're like, oh, right.
One of my best friends had a novel. It wasn't her first novel, but she was very excited about it. They scheduled it to launch on election day 2016.
No.
Like, I'm not even gonna bother.
You're not gonna get any media for that. Like, there's just no room. I felt like that whole year. The whole year, it was like impossible to get any features coverage because it was all dominated by politics. It was awful. It was an awful. So, good word of advice: do not release a book in 2016 at all. Okay, Heather's here. Hello, Heather. Thank you very much for hitting the like button. We really appreciate it. Glad you're here. Morgan, 2.5 pages revised. Very, very nice. Very, very good. Good job. All right, private chat. Hold on. Got it. Okay. So, how did you guys do? Anybody else? JC was giving me some smack the other day, earlier, right before we left, because I accidentally dropped myself out. I was trying to silence myself, and I dropped out of the stream. And I'm like, yes, this is something that I would do, right?
I also have some other aspects and thoughts on this full-time author subject. Now, it's interesting if you followed self-publishing from the beginning and a lot of stuff on social media, including YouTube and AuthorTube, there were a lot of people that wanted that full-time dream of becoming a full-time author, and most of the ones who did and encouraged other people were people who had a spouse who was making enough money that they could stop working their day jobs. And on top of that, I would like to say, when I was working a day job, I wrote every day. So did that still make me a full-time author? I brought my phone and a portable keyboard. On lunch, at breaks, I was writing. people would talk to me and I realized they were just going on about work and the job and the problems, and I just shut them out and I kept on writing.
For you. Very, very good for you.
I love that you brought that up, because that's actually what I talked about when I was vlogging before. Some people aren't very transparent of their other sources of income. They make it as if they're living off their books, and they're not.
Right. Well, yeah. And you know what? There's another part of that too, is that if you have a spouse who can and wants to support you in that way financially, that can give you a really good ramp up. Like for me, I did make full-time income, but my spouse had I didn't need to work. So it's a lot it's a lot easier if you're not trying to cram that. Now, obviously I do need to work, or at least make enough income on my own. Right. But when you have, if you don't have to worry about that, then you can just go, full time immediately. And it takes less time to get to the point where your books can support you. Does that make sense? Because you're not trying to cram in an hour of work here or there. You can dedicate, however much, 6 hours a day or however much you are able to.
Yeah, and I guess I kind of want to add to that, because when you come out and you pretend like you're making enough money on your books alone, people are going to fact check you. Yeah. So, and I don't want to call this person out by name, but they are on AuthorTube, and they said that I'm making enough money just on this thing. And I was kind of like, let's go take a look. I've got some time on my hands.
Let's look at those numbers.
Yeah. And so
let's take a peek.
And so, and the thing with book sales is that it's not steady. It's not a salary. So some months may be good, some may not be. You might have some sales in the beginning, then they'll taper off after that. But this person, obviously they had YouTube revenue, so they were making money off of that. They were doing in-video promotions. They have a Patreon. And I hate saying this, but they are the full-time caregiver of their SO. And in the state that they're in, they get paid a salary to take care of that person. So,
yeah. And there's no shame in that. The only reason to call that out is if they're presenting to people.
Yeah, and that's what they were doing.
Right.
The people who are following them for guidance, this idea that, if I do exactly what you're doing, I can live exactly the way you're living. That's not true.
Yeah,
right.
Don't set people up for failure like that. Just be honest.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with being transparent.
Nothing.
I work 2 jobs and I write.
There's nothing wrong with being married to a doctor. There's nothing wrong with having a trust fund. There's nothing wrong with any of that. But people feel this, I don't know, a little protectiveness of it, defensiveness, I guess maybe is the word. It doesn't have to be that way.
It doesn't.
And I think part of, and then I'll stop chatting. Sorry.
No, you're good. No, this is exactly what we wanted to talk about today.
And I think part of the reason that some people are kind of hesitant to share those details is because there are some pretty nasty people in the writing community. It's well, you can only do that because your husband pays the bills. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. No. Yes, those people are just looking for excuses not to follow their own dreams.
Mm-hmm. That is absolutely the truth.
We all have certain privileges in our life, and we all have certain obstacles we have to overcome, and it's all going to look different for everybody. So at the end of the day, do you want to do you want to get yourself where you want to be? Stop comparing yourself to other people. But that's on them, not you.
Right. Right. And it's, it is a luxury to have someone else take on all or part of the burden of keeping a roof over your head and food in your refrigerator. And why would you make it's like anything where Instagram, where you have people, I eat burritos all day long and I'm still a size 0. That is wrong. It's wrong to do to your followers, to the people who are trusting you, to give them real advice. Mm-hmm. It's wrong. It's absolutely wrong. One of my earliest videos that I did was how I write 3,000 words a day. And I had done that consistently for years and years. But then I had a big chunk of time where I was really struggling to write 100 words in a day. And we talked about it. I'm not writing 3,000. I wrote 3,000 words a day for a long time. And now I'm not writing 3,000 words a day. And then we talked about when things started to kind of clear up for me. And now I'm writing, when I'm writing, which I'm not writing this month, but when I'm writing now 3 or 4 and often 5,000 words a day. But I really built up to it. But it would have been wrong when I was writing 200 words a day and really struggling with that to be like, yeah, everything's great.
Yeah.
Because it gives people the wrong idea that it's not, that there aren't times where it doesn't fall apart, where it's not hard, where things don't work, where you put a lot of energy or money into a book launch and that totally falls flat, or where you go, you know what, I have enough energy to write books and take care of my kids, or promote my books and take care of my kids, but not both. Like, you know?
And at times working that day job, I only did 1,000 words a day, or maybe it was 500 or 300 words a day. Then I discovered dictation, and I would dictate during odd moments, and in breaks I would fix it up and patch it together. And at one point I did NaNoWriMo when I was doing the day job, and I managed to get through an entire draft of a novel while I was working, just through dictating and staying away from other people and useless conversations.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. Kyla says, I don't work at home, but I educate our 2 kids, so I squeeze in writing where I can. That's awesome. Very, very nice.
That is work. Educating your kids is work.
Yeah, it is a lot of work. I think a lot of people learn that for the first time. I think people should have brand new respect for teachers if they didn't already before.
I'm sure Michelle and I, when 2020 happened and we were hearing all the complaints from parents come in, it was like, welcome to our world. We've been doing this for years. With 30 kids in a room, not just yours.
Not just yours. Not just yours. Exactly. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and get another sprint rolling here. Let's see what I can do here. Share screen. Dun, dun, dun. All right. Did I rewind this? I'm not quite sure. Ooh, looks like I did. We're just cooking today. Well, I did. You can see the little 2 floating up here. I'll try and fix that. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and get ready for another 20-minute writing sprint. Let's just do your best, and that is good enough. Here we go. We're going to get started in 3, maybe 3, 2, 1. Sprint. Okay, very good. All right, how'd everybody do on that last sprint?
Good.
Awesome. Very, very nice. That went so fast for me. Like I just had the right, just like all of a sudden going, and I'm like, wait, holy crap, is that over already? That went really, really fast. Oh, thank you, Athena. I appreciate it. Hi, it's great to see you. Very, very nice. Dawdling Writer is here also. Hello. We're very, very glad to see you today. So we have been talking, for you guys who are new, and you definitely don't want to miss this conversation. I think it's been pretty interesting, about the dream of the full-time author and how realistic it is, how we all come at it from different ways. Is that the dream? Like, do you know what counts as the dream? We've had a lot of interesting discussion today. So if you missed it, you probably want to come back and see it later. Morgan just finished her chapter and started revising the next. Yay, fantastic. I just sent approximately 800 emails. Story Detective, how'd you do on that last one?
I did well. I finished up the last scene, and I did some calculations on what I need to make the second quarter actually reach its goals and hit all the inciting incidents. The bad news is I have to double my second quarter word count from what it was on the last draft, because you remember it was kind of a short story and it expanded. And I outline, so hopefully they cover the word count needed.
You've got it. You've got this. How'd you do, Michelle?
Pretty good. I worked on the blurb a little bit more, and then I vlogged a little bit more. I had been taking notes this whole like you just like opened Pandora's box for me with this topic.
Right? I know. It's just one of those things. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to say. I know I was thinking about it as well. There's a lot to say on this particular topic. Hi, Amy. You guys, I would like to make a special announcement. This week, I sent website notes to Amy. After only 17 years, it's finally, I finally made progress. I literally have a reminder on my phone every week that says send Amy website notes. So yes, we're back and rolling, so I'm very exciting. So I don't know, I'm very excited. I am excited too.
Ooh, you're better than me, because I usually just send Amy my website and it's like this but not bad.
Right. Well, that's the thing, is I was really struggling because I had something in mind and I thought I need to just like create sort of a like mock-up kind of a thing. Like, I don't know how to make this a web thing, but I want it to look like this. And that turned out great. So I'm very excited, and hopefully soon. Yay. All right. Fantastic. You know what it is I have a client that she did a website for. And of course, like they have like short period of time. She like knocks that thing out and it looks adorable. And then I'm like, well, crap, I've got to get mine done. Okay. So, so Kara, how'd you do on the last one?
I got through all the emails, and just for the sake of context, I have been going through emails since 7 a.m. and I just got to 0.
Nice. That feels really good. I'm never at inbox 0, but I do feel great, like vicariously that you got to inbox 0. I feel
it's not even my inbox, it's my boss's inbox, right?
Well, I feel great that your boss got to inbox 0.
Yeah, so I sent him notes like, you have to interview with this person, please call that person, this retailer wants to talk to you. And he's like, what am I going to do? That I was like, I don't know, but you got to do it, so figure it out.
Here's the organization. All right, so it's 12:45. We could continue to chat for 15 minutes, or we could get in one more sprint. What do we want to do? Let's take a quick vote.
I don't know. Michelle said she was pretty fired up.
I know, right?
I don't want to take away from anybody's writing, though.
I think it's a good topic, though.
It is a really good topic.
It is a really good topic. All right, share. Feel free to share.
Well, I mean, I guess I just wanted to keep talking because I think if there's one thing that we can all agree on is that, we talked about people that are trying to put up the airs that, they're getting by on the writing, blah, 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 blah. I don't want to rehash that. But it's just the fact that like the information about being an author is either outdated or it's not on point, you know? Like I watched an interview about this one guy and he says he's a writer and about how he goes and he writes outside in his yard, and I'm kind of like, yeah, but what else do you do?
That's good. It's good to write outside in your yard. I write outside on my lanai sometimes.
You know what else? I only just thought of this too, is that especially just here on YouTube, you've got a lot of people who are in self-publishing, spreading misinformation about traditional publishing, and like there's just a whole lot of, well, here's why you don't want to go that route. Let me just vomit all this. I think, do you guys follow Stephen Aryan? Have you seen
a little?
Lisa, he'd be a good guest. He's in the UK and he's traditionally published. He's like a sci-fi fantasy, I think.
Okay.
I did a live stream on his channel a couple weeks ago. Super nice guy, and he is putting out some very blunt videos calling out the BS about traditional publishing that gets spread by self-published authors on authors.
Yeah, like my favorite that I really hate is it's like edit it to the best that you can and then send it to the publisher. And I'm like, no, if that is not published ready, it's not going to work. Like you can't just like send it and hope that their editor is going to make it magically like perfect, right? Like Lisa can attest to this because I remember you commented about how if it's not like as like super polished, right? Like it needs to be published ready when it goes into the publishing house.
Yeah, well, I mean, you want it to be as tight as you can possibly make it. For one thing, if it's not going to be edited until later on, and so that polished version that you send out, that's like often what goes to reviewers, and so because they get their copies 6 to 9 months ahead of time, and so if you're like, somebody else can fix it, that's the kind of reviews you're going to get, that somebody needs to fix this, which you definitely don't want that.
I try to look at a lot of people, and I'll either buy their books to support them, or I'll at least read the preview to see what they're doing. And self-publishing is filled with a lot of people who aren't ready. And there's also some people who are potentially really good writers who've had bad editors, and they've really messed up their flow by putting things in just a bad order of things on the page, really kind of constipate the flow of their own story that could be potentially well written. But you have to kind of educate yourself, and need I say, don't pay attention to what people are doing on the internet. You have to do your own thing and your own research and understanding craft, and that comes in time. It's not anything you're going to learn in months.
At least get citations, like, get it from an interview. Like, don't be like, I talk to somebody. I talk to people all the time, right? Like, I have a friend who does the concept art for Star Trek, right? So I won't put them out by name because they asked me not to, right? But it's like when I talk about stuff that happens in like movies and films and TVs, like I didn't just read about it in like a journalist article. I got it straight from the guy that's like in the freaking studio.
This is actually one of the reasons, like, that this is kind of funny. This is actually one of the reasons why I wanted to start a YouTube channel, because there was like, you're here now, we have more people on YouTube who have more traditional publishing experience, but there was a lot of stuff out there that was just not true. And the thing is I have done both. There are things I really like about indie publishing. Like, I really liked all the control. I really like that a lot. But there are also real advantages to being traditionally published. And especially, and the thing is like, once you have been traditionally published, then I feel like you don't lose some of those advantages when you indie publish. Like, if you've been traditionally published, then it's not as big a deal to like get a review from like a major publication, because they like, you've already been sort of vetted at some level. And yet I know a lot of people who have, like, I have good friends who are indie published, who have gone to traditional publishing, and the experience was so disappointing for them that they're like, forget it, I'm just going to do my own thing.
Sure.
So yeah, I mean, there are good and bad things about both, and that varies even from author to author, house to house. Shoot, you can have the same, like, I had a great editor for my first book at Penguin, and I loved her. She was really smart. She was the editor in chief. She could make things happen. And when she left, like I attributed all those feelings to Penguin. But then when she left, I had an entirely different experience.
Mhm.
Right? And
Yep.
so traditional publishing can be awesome, and it can also be terrible at the same house and in the same imprint with this, so it can be great or terrible. I think so. Eva says, right. Oh, hold on. I missed one of hers. First of all, thank you very much for the link, Michelle. Here it is for Stephen's channel, which I will definitely be checking out. I should copy that onto my notes so I don't have to come back and look at where I put it. Hold on. Hold on, everyone. Wait while I organize myself. Okay. So Eva says, if I could ever provide for my family off writing, it'll be because we paid off big things, mortgage, school loans, etc., and also found a way to have health insurance, Obamacare. Still, it'd never be writing. Just writing is a full-time job when surviving is most complicated. It is
complicated.
Yeah, definitely. Eva says, so I think I'd like to be a hybrid. Self-publishing sounds fun and challenging. True. Traditional publishing sounds like an easier path sometimes and comes with the acceptance we all crave. I think there is some truth to that. And also there is no one who will make you feel shittier about yourself than a traditional publisher.
And I think what's really interesting, and I don't want to get too much off on a side tangent because that's what I do sometimes. But I think what's happening, or at least I find that's interesting, is that people are just kind of going off and doing their own thing at this point. Either because, they're tired of having, like, I don't want to call them gatekeepers, but they're tired of being stuck in a process, or they just want to get their book out there, or they know that people want their book, right?
Right.
And so before, when they were looking for that validation of being with a publisher, like, a lot more people are being more confident in their writing and what it is that they want to put out. And so now they're just doing it. And I'm kind of curious about how long that's going to take before that becomes the actual norm, which, with traditional publishing, that'll probably be like another 5-10 years, but just a thought.
You never know. And there is something too, that traditional publishing for years now has been scooping up successful self-published authors. So if you're selling books, they are perfectly willing to slap their cover on that and take a portion of your sales. Exactly. So they are more than willing. So if you're able to prove that there is in fact a market for your books,
to be fair and balanced, take a big portion, but also put you in Barnes and Noble.
That's right.
I better see like some marketing on your part. You're gonna take my time and effort, like seriously.
Well, but they will get you in Barnes and Noble, probably.
You got two jaded people here being kind of, you better give me my money.
So Laura says, I'm going to self-publish my horror collection. I think this is a lovely idea because horror is such a small and which is such a small community, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in an excellent way, that it's easier, I think, for it's easier to get lost sort of in traditional publishing and horror, even though there's some very good traditional publishers or like indie publishers. But I think, especially with your background, that you probably will do really well self-publishing, because that community, they all talk to each other, they're active, they care. So I think that, I think that's a great strategy.
And somebody with a spouse in that community.
Well, so I know a little tiny bit about that. I was just shocked. Like, I've never seen, the romance community is a lot bigger, and they are certainly like rabid in a good way, but not like horror. Horror is its own special, and I think because they all felt like so long, I think they felt like they had to defend themselves for liking horror, that they've all banded together and they're this like super, it's kind of amazing to me.
It's a lot like the board game community. I don't know if you guys know anything about that, but like the board game community, because they do so many like crowdfunders and Kickstarters and stuff like that, they have like their own like little sections where it's like, I just launched this thing and this thing did really well, and they're like, oh my god, that's amazing, like congrats, can we use that? And they're like, yeah, go, woo! It's like the happiest place I have ever gone. Pure happiness, Neverland.
JC's like, Caro's like, show me the money. JC says, I want to get the middle grade series I'm working on traditionally published. I think that's a solid strategy as well for both you and Laura. So Michelle would have a lot more to say on that for sure. So Is there anything anybody wanted? Look at Eva. She is like,
she's on it.
She's JC's life coach for today's live stream. Scholastic Book Fair is the dream, right?
Man, they can move books.
They really can.
It's
I
wild.
have a work for hire book that I did a couple of years ago, and like a friend of mine worked for them, and they're like, "Hey, they need someone to write a pop music book. Are you?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I'll do that." It was way harder than I thought, even though the word count was not very long, because it had to be written in a very like tight, like traditional, because it's for middle school kids writing book reports on pop music, and so you have to have this like super tight paragraph structure, like just like your English teacher taught you in 7th grade, which was very hard for me to write in, and I didn't even realize it until, because I've been freeform for a lot longer. So there was that, and I don't really do anything with it. It's sort of outside my audience, and it's up on Amazon, and I don't think it like sells that great. But that book has sold a ton of copies, and it's just because they are like, the publisher is like right in there with all those school libraries and all that stuff. I have done, that's like one of those set it and forget it books, and I'm kind of shocked because I have never done anything to promote it ever.
Yeah,
and it just sells. So there you go.
On the other end of traditional publishing, and I don't know if big publishers are doing this outside of comic books, but over the years, I mean, they own the property, so you're not getting the rights to that back like it would be through writing. But they've changed the whole royalty thing. They've said, we would love to reprint more of our older comics, but the royalty and the payout's going to be too much. Meaning you're going to pay the people that worked on the book years later, a very small percentage. And now they've cut that way down. The last book I had reprinted, my royalty check was like $100. What was the point?
No. No. That's terrible. Even if that sounded like that was not like, that's one book that was like, it was one book. All my other books, working it. Yeah, exactly. And that, and it was a surprise to me that it sold like that. But again, that was like the whole thing where they just, but they're never going to make a movie out of pop music, the true story, or whatever else it's called.
I don't know. Like my friend that actually, like I talked about earlier, the guy that works on Star Trek, he told me that scriptwriters right now, their profits are down by 30%, which is huge.
Yeah.
And they also said that they also said studios are not taking any scripts if they're not based on comics or movies right now. So you might get called.
Probably not for pop music, though.
I bet.
I would, what's crazy is 15 Minutes was like, has been optioned more than once. And I always thought that would be a really great movie, but it's like forever just in development.
It needs to be a Hallmark. I need it for Christmas.
I know. You know what? this is like one of my secret dreams. I love those terrible movies, and I would like to write one. So, and a friend of mine is a film agent, and she told me like they want that all like Netflix and all like the streamers now all have like a kill Hallmark department where they're just trying to get those Christmas rom-coms. And I'm like, God, this is my time. I've got to do it. All right. Yeah, there's that. I know. Now you know my secret shame. I would really like to write a Hallmark movie.
There's no secret shame in that.
Not at all.
What woman has not sat down in front of the TV with a pint of ice cream and be like, "You get him, girl. You get him."
That's right. Oh God, I love them. They have terrible problems with them. The dialogue's terrible. The representation is terrible. They're all kind, but I love them. I feel bad. That's why it's my secret shame.
That's the butter. You can't.
It is the butter, right? It is the butter. Somebody wrote Theodora's book. So, yeah, there's that. That's what I want to do.
Make it a Christmas romance, because there's so many of those holiday movies disguise. They're just the rom-coms in disguise, and they seem to pump out more and more of those every year. So there seems an opportunity there.
I know.
I have a friend in England. She's self-published romancing Santa, And I didn't know that those were gonna sell so well, but like I checked her sales, like not her sales, but like her reviews that she got, and it's a thing. People want to romance Santa. And
I
I'm like,
know.
wow.
If there's I can't remember what it's called. If the horror geek would hear, he would tell me it's called Rule something. But basically, like if you can imagine it, somebody.
Rule 34.
Yeah, that's it. All right. He just yelled it from his office. He didn't even hear the whole conversation. He knew what it was. Hallmark open submissions coming again in October. All right. I've never done a Hallmark book. I don't know that I would, but yeah, anyway, interesting. Very, very interesting. Anybody else have anything to say before we wrap up today on living the author dream or nightmare of being a full-time author?
No, thanks for having me.
All right. Well, you guys are absolutely fantastic as always. Thank you so much for our chat today who gave like such great comments. Let's hop around and say goodbye to everybody, do our little outros. Carol, I'm going to start with you first.
Hi, I'm Kara Brown, and normally I don't show up late, but I did today, so mark your calendar. I usually write urban fantasy or romance under Faye Black. If you are interested in those, I do not write anything today. I was working on my other job to pay my bills because my books don't pay. But if you'd like to help with that, you can buy those books and leave a review, and I would be really thankful. Thank you.
There we go. Very, very nice. Michelle.
Hi. I'm Michelle Schusterman. I'm a young adult and middle grade author. My writing channel is Writing Workshops, Traditional Publishing Chat, and Writing Blogs. And thank you for having me, Lisa.
Thank you so much for being here, Story Detective.
Well, I want to be a multi-genre storyteller and everything, but my channel, which will have a new video soon, is taking all forms of storytelling, putting it under that Sherlockian microscope and breaking down the craft for viewers to make their craft journey easier. And as I said earlier on, for the newcomers, I will be coming up with a new video because I got an email from YouTube that said I will be demonetized because I have fallen below their criteria, and if I don't get a video up soon, I'm history.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Yeah. So if Robert doesn't get that video up, we're gonna have to do a live stream. We're gonna do like a monetization aid live stream to save Robert's channel. Who wants to think? We are the world. Okay. JC, we love you too. Thank you guys so much for being here today. I am Lisa Daly. I'm a traditionally published and indie published. So I'm a hybrid author of romantic comedies and nonfiction advice. And if you want to write a book you're super proud of and get it published, this is a great place to start. Actually, any of these people have good advice. So thanks, guys, so much for being here today. Just as a reminder, we will be off again next week, but we will be back the week after that, and we'll be doing our regular every Wednesday schedule starting, I think, August the 3rd. August the 3rd. And also, just a quick reminder, Boozy Planorama will be on the 7th of August for next month, since I'll be out of town on the 31st. So, all right, you guys, thanks so much for being here. We will not see you next week, but we'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye, everybody.